Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-dudes.com, and today we've got an amber, hazy beer with a prominent head, and I can't wait to learn more about this beer. This is something that Mike brewed up, and he's going to tell us more about it. Tell us more about it.
Okay. So this is, I was just going for like a hoppy wheat beer, sort of in that transition season, but getting ready for some wheat beers. So this is a 50-50 base malt, just American two-row, and white wheat malt, 50-50.
Okay.
And it's a 3.5 gallon batch, so it's got a really small amount too, 1 ounce of midnight wheat, just so that I get away from the yellow color and has some of
That's
that
where that color comes from.
orangey color, just because I like that in my wheat beers.
Yeah.
Then a couple things that make this interesting, unique, is I also found in the freezer I had 2 bags. I had a bag each of Citra LupoMAX and Sabro LupoMAX. So I wanted to use those up. They've been in there in my freezer, sealed. I have a vacuum seal there, sealed up for a while. So I was like, you know what? I just gotta get rid of these. So this beer got, now this is a 3.5 gallon batch, but it got an ounce each of those is a mash hop. So that went into the mash. I don't know why I just did it that way, because I've heard about mash hopping and was curious about what some of those compounds, how that may carry over into the beer. Then the beer got no bittering charge, anything like that. But at Whirlpool, the hot Whirlpool at 180 degrees, it got 2 ounces each of the Citra Lupo and the Sabro Lupo for like 20 minutes with circulation starting at 180 degrees before I started to chill it down. No dry hop, no fermentation hops, none of that business. And then the other thing, just because I was sort of pressing for time, I wanted to make it happen, is I pitched Kveik Voss. I used Voss here. Just to try to, because Voss maybe supposedly will throw a little fruity ester too. I don't ferment at 100 degrees. I don't see any reason to do that. You don't have to do that just because that's what Kveik is known for. So I just fermented it down here ambiently, and it fermented away like any other beer. I'm not in any super rush, but it fermented away, and it fermented. So it started out at 1056, and it's ended at about 1010. So that's probably pushing 5+%, almost 6%.
Well, I reacted when I got the big hop burst in the flavor. Certainly has a notable citron note, I think. There is like wouldn't say it's an orange juice, but
yep.
But there is orange rind.
There's definitely orange
flavor.
rind, right?
Flavor,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely not like pure grapefruit rind.
No.
It's actually getting even more pithy on my palate after a delayed pause there.
No, it's less astringent than I would say a grapefruit rind.
Yeah.
About the rinds I've eaten in my life, but like the orange rind, when you peel that orange and you get a little pith on it, it's not as strong as a grapefruit pith would be. So I find that pleasant. It's just pretty strong hop flavor,
Yeah, I mean, it is LupoMAX, and I'm sort of, going at it. There isn't a lot of bitterness. It really is a bitter flavor. Yeah. I mean, it's a flavor quality.
Yep.
I'm sure some of the oils coming through from mash hopping are in there then for 60 minutes but it's not a super bitter beer, but it has a lot of that hop aftertaste. It's not a hop bite like you'd get in New England IPA and stuff like that. It's really just truly the expression of these 2 hop varieties.
Yeah, you bet.
Now, in Sabro is not something that I enjoy.
Yeah, I know.
And it's not great. And the Citra, I remember from this batch earlier on, I think the Citra was like okay. I think Citra's been up and down since its inception in terms of its quality, in terms of its cleanliness of like a nice citrusy, lemony thing. So I think together there's like that pithiness coming from the Citra Lupo, and then there's just a little bit of a weird flavor overall, which is the Sabro. Sabro is just weird, right?
Yeah.
I like the aroma more than I like the flavor.
Yeah, you get that. You're supposed to get like a coconut tropical lime thing, right, from Sabro.
Yeah.
It's almost. It is a polarizing hop. Some people like it. Some people hate it. But it certainly should bring something a little bit more. I think the Citra is just overpowering here. I'm noting, and I wonder if it comes from the Kveik yeast. There is like a little bit. I wouldn't say Well, funk maybe, but there is some yeast esters on the nose.
Well, yeah,
Tell me more.
There's probably the Voss. There's
Yeah.
probably a little bit of ester, but I think esters would perceive themselves as being relatively pleasant.
Yeah.
I think some of it is just Sabro, and I think but this batch of Lupo too is like from their early years, like the early. So I don't know. Like this, maybe it's old hops, slightly older hops, but they've been in the freezer, vacuum sealed for a long time, so that shouldn't be too big a deal. I think any of the funkiness is the Sabro.
Okay.
You know, certainly there's definitely some Kveik
Quality
to it, which is, you know, you would think fermenting it not at such a high temperature, you know, you would suppress some of those Kveik qualities. I mean, I like the mouthfeel, I like the fermentation. There is a cleanliness to it aside from that, a little bit that there's a aroma to it that I'm not used to if I had used USO 5 or any West Coast ale yeast, anything clean that you're trying to emulate. But I had a package of Voss. I said, what the heck?
Yeah.
Let's try it. Just, if anything, to continue to confirm that I do not want to use it.
So you learned that, and you don't like Sabro hops. All good learnings.
But I will say this. I mean, I love the initial sip after swallow, the initial flavor is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And I do like the way the beer presents itself. The maltiness is pretty good. I mean, the wheat beer quality of it, I think, is fantastic, which is, you know, nothing mind-bending. It's just 50-50.
Yeah, sure.
And a touch of, you know, for color adjustment. It starts off with a nice orange citrusy thing. Maybe when it warms up a little bit, it'll get a little better, or if as it continues to effervesce, maybe some of that weirdness will come out of it. But I used spring water and a little bit of gypsum just to give me that hop edge to it. But yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a weird aroma coming out of it now that it's warming up too. It's definitely it's to me, it's probably Sabro and
Blame
Voss.
it on the things you don't like.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? That's an easy one. If you check out our video, we did a comparison, I don't know, about a year ago maybe, I don't know. It's in one of our more watched videos, but we did a comparison of some of those lager-like strains. We did a Kveik comparison with Nova Lager, I believe was one. So check that out, and you'll note that Mike was able to pick out the Kveik right away and said, yes, I don't like that. And yet he had some, and of course he had to use it.
I don't know why I bought it, why it was in the fridge, but
sometimes you just pick things up and it's probably like, I'll try that, maybe I have an idea, and then you forget the idea.
I didn't expect to like the Sabro, so I figured I will throw Voss at this too.
Why don't I just sabotage the rest of the beer by throwing other things in?
I think other people would probably really enjoy it.
I think that this is going to be a big hit as we here in the Northern Hemisphere go from spring to summer. I think people will definitely dig it. So, wheat beers, we're getting there. If you need a light, crisp ale around the house, certainly think up a wheat beer recipe. Mike will have his in this post. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. We do this kind of thing every single week. For John and Mike, brew-dudes.com, wheat on.
Cheers.